Okay. Before we get started, can I just say something? Sure. Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. Yeah, some might say I like to go the extra mile. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. Oh, thank you. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. Well, I try to, with varying results. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. What? Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Wow, thanks, man. I mean, it means a lot to me. I haven't really been doing the best lately, so getting to pick my favorite time is, it's kind of an unexpected treat. I appreciate it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. I have been busted. Yeah, I booted up the game once before and tried to make a video, but it didn't really pan out with time constraints. So this is actually my second time trying to play Stanley's Parable.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
One has to imagine.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, Jeremy Clarkson. I guess it's time to start my day.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Actually, I'm just trying to peep their personal emails. You gotta come to the office rumor mills with something. Ted was doing an installation and I shut it down. I don't like Ted. Did Stanley ever consider that today may be pretzel day? He could be missing out on all the good ones. I'm going to assume that that says fun, as tends to be the atmosphere of all cubicle office jobs.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Well, of course I did. It's a beautiful lounge.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Can I drink it all in? Maybe with a drink?
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Well, of course. I never quite liked my co-workers, but I've always tried to clock in as much time as possible so that I could get a meal.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Well, now I think you're being a bit petulant. Don't pick on me because I enjoy a well-constructed room.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
I'm pretty sure this counts as dialogue right now. With no boss around, I could basically take a 5-hour lunch if I wanted. and have this room all to myself. All the low poly coffee I want. Okay, my attention span is waned.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Actually, there's a chair over there.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. They probably have that hanging in the manager's office too for when they're crucifying an associate. Actually, this room is pretty amazing. Wow. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift. $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift. $5,000. You mean to tell me they have a built-in American hospital in the cargo room too? This is a pretty fancy place.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Has it?
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Jump time.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
But there's danger everywhere. How do I not know that you're weaponizing my short attention span? You had me ride on a cargo lift, with no rails. Of course I was gonna jump. Somewhere there's a joke about existentialism in there, but there are no buckets past this point.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah, but if you want me to go through the red door, why did you put a blue door so conspicuously right here?
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay, I got it. Stanley walked through the blue door.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah, the blue door. Okay.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Is it pork?
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Oh, okay.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Well, the mechanics are concise and easy to understand, but the textures are kind of mid, so I'm going to pick number 3.
Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good?
I want to go over there.
Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Oh, are these real stats? Did you know that 21.3% of players skipped the intro sequence? Only the worst 3% of players chose the blue door. 98%. How long does it take you to get the correct door? Compete against other players to improve your Stanley Parable career. Why not ask some friends for help? Error, friends list empty. Oof, the narrator's getting awful spicy.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
I think the leaderboard added a lot to the experience, so I'm going to pick a 4.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
No.
Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
Ooh,
Be
I don't
sure
have
to
4
keep
hours.
notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
I don't think you're
Let's
taking this
see.
criticism constructively.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
The narrator is so petty and passive-aggressive. It's quite a vibe. Can I be the raccoon? Or can I drink the Chlortox? Well, it sure seems like this is quite a parable.
Oh, no, it can't be.
What, that this is a game?
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any...
You mean Jonesy Lake?
Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
I think you're letting your creative direction kind of get away from you here.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Is this Rocket League?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design.
It's Pocket League.
Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Well, that sounds like a challenge.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
I don't know, you made it.
There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Clearly they call this a strike.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought, and I realize I'm not a sport...
Adventure.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Oh, finally, I can kind of think for myself a bit. Am I in the alpha build of Stanley Parable? I am. Well, maybe I can find my office. 427. There it is. Wow. Somehow I feel like there's poeticism crawling about in this situation I'm in, but my brain doesn't really know how to figure out what that is. Hey.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Boy, Jeremy Clarkson's been tweaking ever since Top Gear ended. Was that an ending?
All of his co-workers were gone.
I think so.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.